My name is Hayden Baker and welcome back to Hayden Cinema, and today we're going to be talking about the movie Final Destination 2. As I mentioned in my last video that the first movie was my first time watching this. This was not my first time, but it has been probably about 4 to 6 years since I watched this last. So was this a good rewatch? Did I like it more than I did last time, or has it fallen down a little bit? Let's talk about it. First things first, I really like the setup of this one. In the last movie, you have Alex going on a spring break trip with his friends, or classmates rather, to Paris, and he has the premonition of the plane crashing. In this one, we follow Kimberly, and her friends are going on a road trip, and while they're on a road trip, all the signs of the premonitions coming up where, she plays a song, and every single one there's a song, and she clicks the radio, plays a song. Certain signs come up, AC/DC, Highway to Hell, just sticking to the theme here.
Daytona, not Somalia.
And then this log comes off of this log truck and causes this very catastrophic crash. Also, the thing with this one is the crash itself has made a huge stamp in today's world, to where this one is responsible for me, my dad, and probably everyone else in this world absolutely terrified to drive behind a log truck. And I can always appreciate when a film does that, much like the movie Jaws. That is responsible for everyone and their mother terrified of going out in the ocean and swimming because they are scared of being eaten alive by a shark. Same way with this one, everyone is scared of driving behind a log truck. And you can't talk about a Final Destination movie without mentioning the kills. The kills in this one, compared to the first movie, are like ramped up to an 11. The practical effects and the CGI has a really good blend here, to where they use CGI more as a mask, more like movie magic, instead of just blanking in your face like Final Destination 4. There are some really good and really gnarly kills in this one, and it just makes for a really entertaining time. Also, the story itself holds up pretty well. Now, I do have a couple small nitpicks, and mainly with some characters, but the story itself is pretty straightforward. It's pretty well laid out. The first film lays out the rules of this franchise and this world that we're watching this movie in pretty well, and I think that this movie carries that over pretty decently. Along with the story, we have a couple really good characters here, like Kimberly and Officer Thomas Burke. Now, Kimberly being our main focus in this story, Thomas Burke being kind of the love interest, I guess you'd call him. All these movies kind of have that, I guess, budding romance some way or another. Like in the first movie, it was Alex and Clear Rivers, and this one it's Kimberly and Burke, and the rest of them have the same thing. I think their chemistry, as not even as a couple, because they're not a couple, but as two people working together towards a goal, works really well. To where they figure out they're matching, the numbers 180 with everything from the last catastrophe with a plane crash to it being flight 180 and dates, and that leads them down this rabbit trail of figuring out Death's design and Death's patterns, and it takes them to end up meeting Clear Rivers, who we find out in this one is actually still alive. Now, Alex is done passed, and she has lived because she has taken herself into like a solitary confinement pillow room. She cannot be hurt in this room. As long as she's in this room, she will not die from catastrophe or self-infliction or in any other freak accident. It will be because of starvation or natural causes. In my opinion, that is a very well and natural way to bring back a character from the first film, especially Clear Rivers, and putting her in this film. And they use her. She's not just a cameo. She's a significant character into this movie. She helped lays out the rules for the remainder of the movie, and she joins the fight against Death's design with Kimberly and Thomas and a couple other characters. Also, you have the classic Tony Todd in here, just kind of in a very nonchalant way, just giving details very little at a time with each movie, but he's kind of just throwing the ball towards Kimberly and Thomas and gives them that subtle, not very helpful at all, couple taglines here. But I love Tony Todd. I think he's great. Rest in peace. Really a staple and an icon in film, period. And also, the Oscars were last night, and when they were doing their memorial, they didn't mention Tony Todd. And I thought that was pretty, very distasteful, because he was again, a staple in cinema. Oscars and CCA and all those awards assemblies don't recognize horror, and I'm kind of thinking maybe that's why. But even now, they don't have that excuse because of the substance. So, also with this one, I felt like there's more maybe risk taken, maybe more at stake here, and that's not really something I felt with the first one. Also, something that's also kind of bothered me, you can go into these movies with dumb fun, or you can go in these movies for story and character. I wouldn't necessarily suggest going to this franchise looking for the best story or best character development, but it's nice to have. It does help in the value of the film. In this one, I believe that the characters actually kind of sit and marinate in the grief process of it all. They don't really have time to, but they try. You can see in the characters that they're trying to grieve, and they're trying to understand and comprehend and come to grips with their situation that they've been put in. As of in the first film, they don't do that. You just have Alex going crazy doing the Devon Sawa thing, and you don't really get time to breathe with what's happening with his characters. But in this one, you really see that struggle in the character, and I really appreciate that. But this one was pretty fun, and as far as rewatch value goes, it is my biggest negative with it. The rewatch on this has actually gone down significantly. It's not something that I'm going to skip in a marathon. It's going to be one that I will constantly go back to, if any of them. The first one and this one will definitely be my go-tos for the franchise, and it won't be a skip it in the marathon. But it's rewatch value as watching it alone, like you can with a couple of these movies. It doesn't hold up as well as it used to for me. Realizing how actually great the first one is and seeing it for the first time, that one is a very well-paced, very quick-paced movie. This one has kind of some slow parts in it. They're not just huge, and it doesn't have a huge weight on the film itself, but it is a bit of a bummer because, like I said, I grew up watching this one, and the nostalgia just doesn't hold as well as I thought it was going to, and it's just not as rewatchable as it used to be. Also, I have to talk about the final kill in this, to where the payoff and the whole payoff with the story and Kimberly and Thomas is really well done, and the ending is probably my favorite ending of the entire franchise. Part 5 would have been if I'd seen part 1 before watching 5, but I didn't, so that doesn't have much weight to me. This one, I really like the final kill, to where we have Kimberly and Thomas, and they're doing the whole like Sunday supper thing, and it's the cliche white picket fence type ending, happy ending, and they're sitting there talking, and the kid Brian, they start talking about how he almost died, and then Kimberly and Thomas look at each other and are like, what happened? So the dude tells me, hey, he was almost hit, and luckily he got saved. And Kimberly and Bert look at each other and are like, oh no, because they know that he just cheated death. And as they're kind of putting 2 to 2 together, you as an audience member are also doing that, and you're like, what's gonna happen? Out of nowhere, kids out there at the grill cooking, and then you just see, boom! As soon as you kind of put it together in your head, just body parts are everywhere. And it's also probably the best kill in the entire movie. But then you have this great reaction from the mom, to where she sees him explode and she's freaking out, and she's like, ah! And then she covers her face, and then the arm drops, and then she opens her hands and she's like, ah! and then the movie cuts off. It's a really good ending, and I always get a kind of sick, twisted laugh from that. But overall, I think it was a really decent watch. I enjoyed revisiting it. Like I said, rewatch value doesn't hold up as well, but the movie as a whole is pretty well done. I'm gonna give this one a 3.5 out of 5. So have you seen this one? If you have, let's talk about it in the comments. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts out there. What is your favorite Final Destination movie of this franchise? I know this typically tends to be the popular answer. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit your notification bell so you know when my other videos are coming up. I am reviewing the rest of this franchise, and we'll be reviewing Final Destination 6 Bloodlines when it comes out May 16th in theaters. I will be doing a big ranking of these when it's all said and done. If you want more, if you want to join the conversation, you can follow me on Twitter or X, whatever, at Hayden Cinema. And you can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram, also at Hayden Cinema. And you can join the conversation, join the fun. I have a bunch of videos on TikTok, and I'm starting to gain a little bit of traction there, and I'm excited about that. So I'd like to see you over there as well. Well, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it for you, and I'll see you next time.